Greetings and blessings, and welcome to another episode of Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. I do this because you need it. We all need it. That good energy that will change our minds about our limitations. Some strong, positive conversations that will shift our lens from lack to abundance. We all need this kind of emotional diversity if we ought to be happy. Today on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze, we're talking about the color of success. And my very special guest, she is a beautiful Black woman, a woman on purpose, a woman on a mission, a very successful, independent, self-confessed fashionista, and she is also a hustler. I'm talking no other than Miss Marsha Fry. Miss Marsha, it is such a privilege to have you on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Brief. And I'm
Oh, go on.
Medea. And I'm going to give you this opportunity to tell my listeners more about you. Who is Marsha?
I think very simple. I've had to do this quite a lot. Like, who is Marsha? I'm British Jamaican, for those who don't know. I am a yard girl at heart. I often say I am British during the day, but I'm a yard girl in the night because I have to bring that spirit throughout the night to take me throughout the day. So I am a teacher. That's my first profession. I am a maths teacher. I studied maths and science. I also studied inclusive education, so special educational needs. I have a kind of really strong passion when it comes to that. I've done several things in my career so far. Other than being a maths teacher, I've taught in London. So my career started in Tottenham. I stayed in the same school for almost 9 years. I was a maths teacher. I was the head of lead learning, head of learning, several different things. I moved to the UAE almost 10 years ago as an advisor. I've done several leadership roles here, which includes principals training, being a vice principal. But that led me to my hustle, because I've always been a hustler. I come from a family of hustlers. My mom is the most passionate hustler I know. Never worked for anyone a day in her life, wow. Which drives me, which really, really, really spurs me on. So that kind of has always been in me, and I've always been looking for something else to do. I've always been doing something else. So I started out doing turbans and designing and lots of things. But I think I'll tell you a little bit more as we get into the conversation.
Yes, I'm eager to know.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about the color of success. Do you have a color of success? And if yes, what is that color?
I would say yes, and only because, yes, I have a personal color, and then there's the brand color. For Out and About Style, which is my brand, we are everything hot pink. So that represents something to me. So when I see that hot pink, I think Out and About Style, and I think the success, and I think the growth of it. Personally, I would say for me, it's purple. It's that royalty as a personal color of success. Yeah. I'm going to go with hot pink because that represents the brand.
And if you could put a definition to success, what would that definition be?
You know what? I ask this question quite a lot and I get lots of different answers. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, success is quite simple. It's setting out your intentions. What are your intentions? What do you intend to do? And then hammering the hell out of those. Yep. And once you've hammered it until the very end, and you've seen that, I've got this small win or a big win out of something that I set out, I think that for me is success. It's not always going to be huge. Success is not always going to be a massive thing, something that you earn lots of money out of. But I think the key thing for me is setting some sort of intention and then working towards it, hammering it as hard as you possibly can, and then measuring that against what you set out. And I think that's where success is for me.
I do agree with you. Now, if there is one word that you can use to define yourself, what would that one word be?
Defiant. I think I if I think about it really, yeah, I'm going to say defiant in every single aspect of life. I go against the norm. I go against the grain.
Mm,
If you tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna go do it. So I think it's a lot. There are a lot of words rolled into one.
yes.
But I think I would say I am the most defiant person you could ever think of. If you tell me no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to do it because I want to know why.
Awesome.
There has to be, I think at this age, there's something else about
Mm-hmm.
you saying no,
Yes.
you know? There is another, sometimes I feel like there's a hidden agenda. Like, why are you telling me no? You know, is there
Mm,
something there that I should be finding out?
that you
Because
should.
I don't have a problem with.
Story of your past successes and some major challenges you had.
Ah, um, there, you know what? I think before you talk about major success, like if you haven't had challenges,
Mm-hmm.
you can't talk about major successes
Yes.
because it's those challenges that kind of lead you to your major success. Because what happens is that you fail, you fail, you fail, you fail, you learn, you learn, you learn, you learn. And then, you know, you use all of those failures, all of those lessons to get to success. So I've tried so many things that haven't worked. And I'll say quote unquote worked because everything that I've tried that I think haven't worked is something that I will revisit because I know a lot better now. So I started out with doing turbans. There's so many things that I've done. Not many people will tell you that they've finished work on a Thursday afternoon, ran to Dubai, jumped on a plane. You're in Kuwait within the next couple of hours in a market, sitting down with men fanning flies off you while you're getting your designs made. You know, I've put myself in risky situations
Mm.
for success. And has it worked out? It hasn't worked out. Like that side of the business didn't work out as well as I wanted it to.
Yes.
However, it led to something else. You know,
Awesome.
if I didn't do that,
Mhm.
if I didn't go to Kuwait and, you know, fan flies and do all of that
Mhm.
thing, I wouldn't do the next thing, and then, you know, be led up to Out and About Style magazine.
Your determination is powerful, very powerful.
Oh, I don't play with I don't play with getting out there and doing things. I believe that if you want to achieve, you're gonna have to put in the work. The work doesn't always work in your favor,
Mhm.
but you are surely gonna learn
I do agree with
something.
you. Sometimes we hear that hard work guarantees success. Is this always so?
Oh, absolutely not. Hard work guarantees nothing sometimes. You could put in hard work and it just doesn't work out because it's not just about hard work. It's about the right time, the
Mhm.
right thing, the right brand, you know, the being in the right position and not just being in the right position as in location, but mentally, spiritually, you could be putting in what you think is really hard work and then you don't achieve what you think you set out to achieve. So I don't think it's always the case.
Yes.
Sometimes you put in the work and it just doesn't work out. But from that, there are lots of lessons to learn. And from those lessons, you know, you have to come back again and say, okay, what is it that worked and what didn't work? And
Mhm.
what can I learn
Yes.
from what didn't work?
That's when one has to be determined, can't give up. If you fail the first time, you have to try again. And that is something
Yes.
that I do believe as well. Now, you journeyed to the UAE on the search for job opportunities, like many of us have done. However, you did something that was different. You did not remain complacent. You went ahead and you think outside of the box and you founded the Out and About Style magazine. What gave you the drive towards doing this?
As I said earlier, I'm a hustler, and I say that proudly all the time. And then people think, why does she say that? I always say I'm a stalker and I'm a hustler. I come from a family of hustlers. You know, my father was a hustler, and I don't just mean, hustling on the street. He was a businessman.
Yes.
My mom, educated woman, but never worked for a person a day in her life. She braided hair, she sold clothes. She did all of that until she got to the point where she could own her own boutiques.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So I know what it is to pack them out on a stall, hustle for the day, make your money, go back home. Mm-hmm. So that's always been something that's been in me. I've never wanted to work for anyone full time, because you don't own your freedom when you work for someone full time. They tell you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And sometimes you don't agree with it, but because that's your bread and butter, and you have to go with it. Mm-hmm. I want to be in a position where on Wednesday, and I want to be in that position. So that's what drives me. And it's not just Out and About style, it's with anything. Your freedom will come, and that's my belief. Your freedom will come when you own your time. And owning your time means you run your own show. And for me, that's running my own business means I can decide when I sit and when I get up, when I move and when I don't move.
Yeah, that's freedom indeed. That's real freedom. In turn, what impact has your family and friends had on you while maintaining your color of success?
I come from a family of really strong women, I wouldn't say a small family, but I only know a small proportion of the family. My mom is always there to say, what you trying, what you doing, what you want to achieve out of it. So she's always there. If I tell you about some of the things that me and my mom have decided to go into, there are points when she's like, oh, you know what's working well, Marsha? Pig farming. We should start a pig farm. Seriously. And we put money into it and started it, worked on it. It worked out because at the place my mom's dad is from in St. Anne, they've got lots of land. Yes. So they had lots of room to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, we try that. And if I say I'm doing something else, my mom wants to know, what's the plan? Because you have to have some sort of a plan. What do you want to achieve out of it?
Yes.
And then my sister, very strong woman again. When I started Out and About Style magazine, the first person that helped me with editing was my sister.
Wow.
And we're on different time zones. She lives in Canada and I'm here in the UAE. We're on Google, sending Google documents to each other, making sure that it's working out. People see the finished product of things, and the work that goes into it is something else. So I definitely say my mom, my sister. I have a friend here who we came here together. We kind of made crazy decision one day, sitting in the staff room in London, that, you know what, we should just go out and try something else. And she's been also a really big push. I can pick up the phone and I can say, you know what, Lisa, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try this. Or she'll say, Marsh, try this, try that. This is what's worked for me. She's really successful as a businesswoman as well. She's tried stuff since we've come here. They've worked. Maybe that's someone else you should have a chat with as well. She's a Jamaican girl as well. And, it's just, if you don't try, you don't know.
Yeah, I do agree. So, wow. So you have a strong link of family and friends who are there to support you and maintain that color of success. And that is what we all need as individuals. Those who will push us in spite of anything. They are there to motivate and encourage us. That's wonderful. I'm very, very happy to hear that. Now, Marsha, being defiant and so determined, is there ever a time you experienced doubt and fear on your journey of success? And how were you able to overcome?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, it- and sometimes very often, if
Mm,
I'm really honest with you, sometimes very often. It just depends on what's happening, what you're working on.
yes.
I tell myself that if I don't try, then I don't know. If I go in with fear,
Mm-hmm.
then I've already stopped myself because I'm never going to go past that fear.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna jump in and I'm going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do get a little bit jittery and I'm like, am I doing the right thing? But then I go back to, if you don't try it, then you don't know. What's the worst that can happen? I like to ask myself that question.
What?
What is the worst that can happen? I ask my friends that as well when
Mhm.
they're in situations. That's my key question. What's the worst that can happen? And
Yeah.
then once I answer that question, I'm past whatever the situation is,
Mhm.
because worst that can happen is not the worst possible thing. I can always move on from there.
Wow. And this leads me to my next question. Many studies have shown that risk takers are more successful than others. Is this true? And if so, like how do you attempt to take in risk? What are some of the challenges you face while you're taking risk? And what are some of the greatest risks that you have ever taken on your career path?
I agree. I definitely agree. If you look at some of the most successful people, and as I said before, it is not the glamour and the glitter that you see. It
Mhm.
is what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There are months when we've been doing Out and About Style magazine for a year and a half.
Yes.
And there are months when it's a monthly magazine, so we
Hmm.
must produce content, do interviews,
Yes.
do
Hmm.
layout, pictures, everything, every single month. And there are months when I think, how do you up this one, Marsha? You've gotten this interview, you've done this. How do you up this one? And I sit and think, oh, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can outdo myself there. But it's that time of reflection and thinking, what's the next thing that I can do?
Yes.
And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Mm.
Right now, so this morning before I came on to join you,
Yes.
I'm thinking about something to do for the next issue of the magazine. It probably doesn't work. We'll probably have lots of technical issues, but
Hmm.
I'm willing to take the risk because if I don't try, I don't know if it will work
Yes.
out.
I agree with you.
Uh, so as I said, I've sold turbans, I've dragged boxes, I've done pop-ups, I have lots of clothes that I still have, and I want to do a sale of those clothes because I want to have fresh things, but those didn't sell, so I still have them.
Hmm.
Um, I've taken the risk. Let me tell you, I have a phone that's in the UK now in Manchester. And I'll tell you a little story about how that happened. So I went on a work trip
Hmm.
to England. When I was going on that trip, I took an extra suitcase
Hmm.
because in my head I thought, what?
Yeah.
I'm going home
Hmm.
as an I am going to take this opportunity. I got to London. I went to the exhibition I was supposed to go to. I think we had a break one day. So I grab my suitcase and I leave London and I go to Manchester in the pouring rain, dragging my suitcase from one shop, from one wholesaler to the next wholesaler to the next wholesaler to the next wholesaler, dripping wet. If you know about the UK, you know how wet it gets. And I did the journey from Manchester to London as if nothing happened. I laughed. I laughed at myself. When I got back, I got back to London, I realized I left my phone in Manchester.
Wow.
I was like, okay, how do we do this? But you know what the great thing was about that?
Mhm.
I actually got back to the UAE. The young lady in the shop that I left my phone
Yeah.
found me on LinkedIn because I was talking to her.
Nice.
Found me on LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
and told me I left my phone there because I had no idea where I left it.
Wow.
You know, so it is, if you don't take risks, you never ever know. I could have been fired from my job then.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I could have been. Did I care? A little bit. Did I get what it out of it? I did.
Mm-hmm. You did. You surely did.
Yeah, but how many people will be willing to, take that journey,
That's
be
it.
wet, messy,
Mm-hmm.
um, sweaty, and all of that, going through all of the trauma that
Yes.
comes with it.
Many will not.
And you come and
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
many would not want to do so because of fear, that fear factor. When I do this, what will happen? And we're always thinking of the worst thing. But at times we just have to take that step, and that's where our greatness lies. And if we are afraid to do that, we will never reach our true potential. So I mean,
absolutely.
you are indeed a risk taker, like you are. You are. And
Okay, try. No.
and for those of my listeners, like they might be saying, oh, she's a superwoman, and how was she able to do this? I want to do this, but I'm scared off. What would you say are some more benefits of taking risks? Like, would you encourage other young people? They have great ideas. Maybe they don't know where to start from. They don't have the resources, and they want to take risk, but they are just so afraid of doing it. What would be your
Send
encouragement
me
to
an email.
them?
And some sense into your head,
Mm-hmm.
because I do understand, and I have people around me who often say to me, like, Marsha, why are you so bold? Like, how is it that you become so bold? I've not always been as bold as I am now,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I have set a clear intention for myself and for my life and for my child, and that is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about freedom. So what do you want? What do you want for yourself? So it's not necessarily that you want to become an entrepreneur. It could
Yes.
be that you want to be a career person.
Mm-hmm.
But even in that, you still have to take some risks. What do you need to do to get to the next step? What's stopping you? My key question, as I said to you before, is
Yes.
what's the worst thing
Mm-hmm.
that can happen?
That can happen.
And then weigh that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Always ask yourself that. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I say, okay, so if it's in a job, the worst thing that can happen is I get fired.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get fired. I'm going to go through a rough patch, but I'm qualified. I went to school. To get educated so that I can have choices in jobs.
Yes.
Now, if I'm fearful about just this job, then something better is probably out there. I don't get to achieve that better something
Mm-hmm.
because I failed in this job.
Wow. Wow.
So I think whatever it is, ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen?
And did you also know that I took a risk when I contacted you? And then I thought of it, okay, I will contact her. She will either say yes or no. But I was really scared. I was really scared. And when I saw you typing, I'm like, oh my God, I hope it's something positive. And then when you responded to me, I was like, if I was there and not wanting to message you, then I wouldn't have had this opportunity today. But I took that risk of messaging you, not knowing what your response will be. But then I said, okay, it's either yes or no, but I'm gonna try.
So you've asked the question, what's the worst that can happen? And for me, that's something very, sometimes I come up with the craziest ideas. And especially with the magazine, I've come up with ideas like, oh, I sent an email to one of the owners of Amazon. So the person who owns Souk in the UAE. And how did I get in contact? I'll tell you what I did.
Oh.
So I firstly went onto LinkedIn and I looked for everybody that works in Amazon in the UAE. And I mean everyone, every single person. And I looked at their job title. Was like, how am I going to reach to this man? Look at the job title, until I found, I think it was the regional manager. And I wrote an email. What's the worst thing that can happen? He can either put me in touch with the person or not. And then we take it. I sent him an email. I sent him a message on LinkedIn. He responded. He got back to me. He said, send me an email. I sent him an email. He said he will pass it on to the PR people for the gentleman that I want to interview. I was like, yes. And in my journal that night, I wrote down, I'm grateful that that person responded to me, because I'm very grateful for that.
Of course. That's a big step you took.
And the PR company actually got back to me. They said the gentleman is very busy at the moment and he's not doing any interviews. So for now, it's a no. And that was key for me again.
Yes.
Because that for me, no, always means not now to me.
Yeah.
And when I tell people that I'm a stalker, that's what I mean. When someone says no in my head, okay, not now, but I'm gonna come again. Next time you say no, but I'm gonna come again. Wow. Because as the 4 agreements tell us, it's not necessarily about more than likely about me. If I take that no as no, then I've lost something.
Yeah.
Who knows? I will be back and I'll be emailing again in a couple of months. You might have a little time. I might be able to do it. So no always means not now to me. Not now, but I'll be back.
So I now think that the key to success is being defiant, being determined, and also being a stalker. Go for what you want. Don't stop. Just keep going at it. Wow. Now, how can someone drive motivation from failure?
There's a thin line depending on your personality, if I'm really honest with you. Not everybody has the personality for, okay, I failed, so let me just get up again and try the next thing. But I think that's something that can be learned. And especially as you grow older and you experience failure, you reflect. It is about reflecting on that. What happened? When I tried that thing, what happened? What did I do well? So I go back to my classrooms, the classroom strategies. What went well and what am I even better? What could I have done better to make that work out better? And sometimes something that you're trying is not the right thing. Sometimes it's just not the right thing. And you can look at it and say, you know what, I've tried that, but probably I wasn't supposed to. And it doesn't mean I'm a failure. It means that thing just didn't work.
Yeah.
I didn't fail. That didn't work. So, what can I do next? But here the key thing is, what do I take from that lesson? And I don't want them to be failures.
Yeah.
That thing that happened, what lessons did I learn from it? And what can I use that for the next thing that I'm working on?
And I also believe that many of us, when we try something and it doesn't work out the first time, then it's as though we are defeated. We feel so defeated, and then we just throw ourselves down. We're not motivated anymore, and then we just don't want to try again. So I think that is why many of us, we're not able to drive success or drive motivation from our failures. And like you said, it's just about what you want. And sometimes too, as you said, we're not making the right decisions. Is this really for us? Have we strategized, and are we doing the right thing to accomplish our goals? Beautiful. Now, oftentimes
sometimes we really think.
Go ahead.
I'm saying sometimes that we are on the right track. Well, not necessarily. And sometimes life has a way of telling us that we're not on the
Yes,
right track.
it surely does. It surely does. Now, oftentimes we hear people say that reaching the point of success is not as hard as staying successful. What is your view on this?
Oh, oh yes. Um, for sure. Okay, so you've worked and you worked and you worked and you
Mhm,
worked and you worked. You
mhm.
cannot do that. You cannot just, you have
Yeah.
to get better because someone else is gonna come and
Mhm,
start, and suddenly you're gonna be like this, just going like that,
mhm.
and you know that Jamaican
Yes.
word
Yeah.
"zoops."
Yeah. Mhm.
If you are thinking that, okay, I've reached a point of success or what I consider to be success and I'm just going to stay there,
Mhm.
then you're actually going to just take your little time and come back down,
Mm,
because whatever area you're in, you
mhm,
have just become stagnant.
mhm,
And if customers, they're going to start looking at someone else.
mhm.
If it's an employer, they're going to start thinking, okay, so you just like your little position, you're going to just stay there. You don't want to move from where you are. So I
Mhm.
think becoming successful is a lot easier than when you think you get to that point and just trying to keep pushing beyond that point.
Wow.
Because you have to think a lot more about when you're trying, when you're coming up, you're thinking because you have a goal. But when you think
Yeah.
you reach that goal, what's the next goal? How do you set yourself something else? You know,
Mm.
because you start thinking, okay, so I've made that money I wanted to make. I've
Mhm.
set myself up making this amount of money. I've done it,
Yes.
and then how do I get to the next level?
Wow.
Is all the important thing.
That's very, very important because it's easier to come all the way back down than when you're up. So we have to be very, very careful of how we manage being successful. Oh wow. Now for someone who has had roadblocks put in their path and they have lost their drive of success, what is your encouragement for especially young people? Because many of my listeners, they are between the ages of 21 to 35. And for many of them, they have had several roadblocks and they're always asking me, Shauna-Kay, like, where do you get your motivation from? Like, how is it you're doing this? What drives your passion? But my passion comes from my
Mhm.
experience and knowing that I want to do something to enhance myself, especially during this I want to say lockdown period, this period where we're a bit isolated. What encouragement would you give to someone as such?
I think the first thing I'd say to them is read, because then when you read, you get to understand a
Mm-hmm.
lot more about the people that you consider to be successful,
Yes.
and start looking at the who you consider. Pick a person that you think is the most successful person, and
Mm-hmm.
go and find something about their life story and their journey, and see what they've had to go through to get there. So we lots of people talk about Mr. Bezos and Amazon, and you see the picture floating
Mm-hmm.
around of how he started.
Mm-hmm.
There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
I think every single young person must.
Yes, man in Babylon. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I think if you read that book, then you will understand success, you understand failure, you understand budgeting, you understand the importance of paying yourself.
Wow.
Um, it it talks about just the very, very key things, especially as a young person. It's so much easier for you to bounce back. And in saying that, though, there's no age limit on success. So don't think, oh, I'm 30, so that's it. I can't do anything again. Lots of successful people got successful at 50, at 40. I think reading is key. Those Richest Man in Babylon
Mm-hmm.
and Think and Grow Rich. And they're not just about riches as in money, but educating you about what to do in life, how you take care of yourself, how you look at failure, and how you springboard from those failures. You know, how you how you motivate yourself. In The Richest Man in Babylon, talks about how a father gave, and it's based on a biblical story. It's a fable.
Yes.
It's how a father gave his son his portion of riches, and he lost everything and had to come back to his father's house. But before he came back to his father's house, he tried so many different things to be able to, you know, pick himself up again.
Wow.
He was determined that he wasn't going to go back without achieving something. Going to his dad and telling him that, you know what, I lost everything you gave me.
Wow.
But along the way, these are the things that I've done. But, you know, reading is very key.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about paying ourselves, and you know that really raised my eyebrow just now. Like, how do we do that?
So yeah, I learned that from The Richest Man in Babylon, and it tells you that whenever you get money in your hand, whenever you get paid, if it's a salary or whatever money you get, you pay yourself 1/10 of that before you do anything else. So whatever else is happening, pay yourself 1/10. So when you get your salary each month, pay yourself 1/10. Put that away, put that in your savings. That doesn't exist. And then you work with budgeting the rest of what you have. And if you are always sticking to that, whatever money I get, I pay myself first. That's the most important thing, because that paying yourself first is that money that you're going to use to start a business if you want to start a business.
That's right.
Get to go back to school if that's what you want to do.
Wow.
But that paying yourself first is something very key that I've learned, and I've only learned that through reading.
Reading is very important.
And I am, that's one thing that I've always said that I am sorry I didn't start doing earlier, and that was reading.
Reading.
I do not enjoy reading.
And I could.
I do not. I only like to read what I like to read.
But you love math.
So I do. So I'm a very logical, but reading has not been my thing. So I will not read a novel. You cannot tell me about no love stories and things like that. You can't get me ever, and you could never get me to do stuff like that. But tell me to read lifestyle books. Tell me about people's journeys. I love to read about people's journeys. There's a lot going on now with self-help.
Yes.
Books for yourself is key. What we do every month is in Out and About Style magazine, we actually review a book every month.
Okay.
And yeah, so we at the back of the magazine, we always have a book review. And it's always based on something that I think, you know what, Marsha, you need that for yourself as well. So maybe someone else needs it.
Yes.
So like in the last issue, we reviewed the book called The Lean Startup. And if you just think about that as a concept, a lean startup. So when you go in, you don't have to go in with lots of money. How can you get that business going with a little, or with the little that you need?
Very important. This is key. Wow. And where can we find Out and About Style magazine for those of us who want to go ahead and read? Where can we?
You should read. If you don't read it, anyone.
Where can we find? Where can we find Out and About Style magazine? Where can we find your magazine?
Okay. Out and About Style magazine. It's online at outandaboutmag.com. You can download your copy up there. It's free of cost to download for now. It's a monthly issue. It comes out on the 15th of every month. And for your who don't know the magazine, what makes it stand out is that we don't feature or talk about celebrities in any form at all, because we believe that we can inspire each other,
Yes.
and who you think that are already successful, we
Mm-hmm.
will talk to those people, and we'll try to learn from them. So you will see interviews from successful people in the magazine. You will see interviews from your everyday people and everyday topics that everybody can relate to. But on the website, we have an online magazine, outandaboutstylemag.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at outandaboutstylemag, on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
and on Facebook, all at outandaboutstylemag.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Miss Marcia. It was a pleasure having you today on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. Your story is truly inspiring. Your defiant attitude, your determination, your zeal, that is what has driven your success. And I know that many will be inspired by your hard work because I know, like, we're seeing all the beautiful colors now that is so radiantly glowing on you, but no one knows where you're coming from. And that is really true success when one has moved from a dark area and you're now seeing colors. So thank you so much for shedding light and sharing your story of success with us. It was a pleasure having you today on Shauna-Kay's Motivational Breeze. Thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to say
Right.
to my listeners before you go?
Um, if there is something that you want to do today, start now.
Mm,
Because if you don't start now, you probably won't start. So if it means writing down what you want to do, write it down now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't say I'll do it in another hour. Get your phone out, write down what you want to do, because I'm sure you have your phones with you.
mm-hmm.
There is something you want to do,
Do it
do
now.
something now. You probably won't achieve it all, but you've done something about it now. You've started that process.
Wow.
And do continue to follow through on whatever you decided you're going to do. Thank you very much for reaching out, Shauna-Kay.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. That was a risk I took.
And it paid off.
Thank you so much.